Hello and welcome to SR&R. In this video we'll be analysing a new trailer for Kevin Smith's Clerks 3. It's not something I usually do, but I'm a huge fan and there's a few Easter eggs and questions to look at and answer. I'll be making a few predictions, but I could be wrong. First scene we see is Jay and Silent Bob. Now whether this film is set before or after reboot is up for debate, as we see that instead of being named Cocksmoker, RST is still there, but a new sign next to it saying THC. Which could be before reboot and this is the start, or this is their new business and being a bit more obvious of what they sell. Next we see a hockey game go on top of the rooftop, which is a nice nod to Clerks 1. Now this is either in the beginning of the film showing us they're still the same Clerks from the 90s, or this is them celebrating after finishing Randall's film, or maybe even a scene in the film. The latter is more doubtful as no cameras appear in the landscape shot, so I'm more inclined to say this is in the beginning of the film. It's after this we see two instances of Randall having heart issues. The first is him outside in the dark, which I think is later in the film. The other is inside the store, as it's both Randall and Elias in the scene. I'm assuming the heart attack comes on as they argue over films like they did in Clerks 2 over Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, something I hope they continue. After this we see Randall and Dante in the hospital, where Randall reflects on his life and how pointless he felt it has been, and Dante mentions something which gets Randall somewhat motivated, that being of course making a film. So after this we see Randall coming up with ideas, looking at photos and deciding to make a film based on his life as a clerk, and then begins casting. We see a returning face from Jay and Silent Bob reboot, Fred Armisen, the actor who played Merkin, the creator of Hater Tots. Whether he returns to that role or not is the question. Afterwards we see Ben Affleck, who is no stranger to the Viewers Universe films. What his role is at the moment is unknown, but the main thing I'd like to know is if he has a cameo like in Clerks 2, or if he has a longer role like in Mallrats, or just one scene like in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back or reboot. There's a scene which Elias asks about Jay and Silent Bob possibly being in Randall's film, to which he compares the duo to C-3PO and R2-D2, saying,
They've been here since the first movie, which was the last time they were cool, but they've been with the franchise so long they still give them cameos and put them on the lunchbox.
Which to me is quite funny, as it's the complete opposite, as the duo has been the highlight of every Viewers Universe film. In this scene we see a black and white shot of what could be Jay and Silent Bob dancing in their kind of parody of their dance in the first Clerks film. Whether or not it's really them is undetermined. We also see Jay and Silent Bob in a new location with their very own blunts they had in reboot, so this could be after the events of reboot or set before. We see them begin the production stage and see the THC sign has gone. Could be for Randall's film, or because the duo haven't started that business yet. My money's on the former. We see Jay using a clapper, which if you look closer reveals the title of the film, director, camera holder, and a nice dick drawing. But in the background you can see movies, cheery A's, and you look at the actual scene, you can see Randall and Dante recreating the infamous salsa shark scene. Afterwards we see Randall and his crew making the film, and we get to see them reference the Death Star argument they had in the original film, talk about the possibility of being in Randall's film, but he dismisses it, saying,
Get sued by Disney.
It cuts to a scene outside of movies where we see Jay and Silent Bob partying, but the others aren't recognisable, possibly the new crew Randall works with, or just regular new newbie employees. Afterwards we see them film more, and it somewhat resembles the heart attack story Kevin Smith tells about himself, with the dropping of his pants to clear his widow-makered heart. And lastly they make a reference to the infamous Clerks original ending where Dante gets killed, and after Dante finds out Randall wants to make this ending, he isn't too fond of the idea. Throughout the trailer we see a lot of associates / old colleagues of Kevin Smith. For example, his daughter's boyfriend Austin, who I and a few others may recognise him from the film Fist Fight. In this film it seems like he is a goth friend of Elias who is helping Randall with his film. We see Kevin Smith's co-host for Fat Man or Batman, Mark Bernardin, who can be seen very briefly in this film, as well as Justin Long, who has been in Kevin Smith's films ever since they worked together on Die Hard 4. In this he's playing a doctor. Whether it's for Randall's film or the actual doctor who helped him is again to be determined. I like the little nods to the first two films, such as the I assure you he's alive banner, the catchphrase Dante spouted throughout Clerks, but going to other actors, as well as the Ranger Danger shirt Randall wears is now becoming a film. That's all I've seen so far. If you have seen anything or know anything that I haven't touched upon, please leave a comment. I really am looking forward to this film, and I'd love to talk to anyone else who may have more insight or just really interested. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.